The observation deck of the Meridian's Hope offered a view of 1,000 stars, but Evan barely noticed them anymore. 3 years into deep space exploration, even cosmic beauty became routine. What wasn't routine was the trembling Zarathi female huddled in the corner of his quarters. Susan, the name she'd chosen from Earth's database, clutched her iridescent arms around her crystalline torso, her bioluminescent patterns flickering erratically with fear. The Universal Council had been clear. Return the escaped slave to the Krellian Empire or face sanctions. But looking at her now, at the way her 3 eyes glistened with liquid terror, Evan knew he couldn't do it. "The captain says we dock at Krell 7 inches 6 hours, he said softly, keeping his distance. She flinched anyway. Across the galaxy, humans were still the newcomers, the primitive species that had barely mastered faster than light travel. Most established civilizations viewed them as curiosities at best, potential resources at worst. Slavery was common. Compassion was not. "Please." Susan's translator device rendered her clicks and whistles into standard. "I work harder. I eat less. I cause no trouble." Her dorsal fins drooped. "I'll be a good girl. I promise, let me stay." The words hit Evan like a physical blow. Good girl. As if her worth was measured in obedience. As if she was property asking permission to exist. "Susan, look at me." He crouched to her eye level, still keeping his distance. "You don't have to beg. You don't have to promise anything. You're a person, not a pet." Her bioluminescence stuttered in confusion. "Person? Xarathi are. Property. It is known. It's wrong." Evan's jaw tightened. "Where I come from, we fought wars to end slavery. We're not perfect, we've made terrible mistakes, but we learned that every sentient being has inherent value. You have value, Susan. Not because of what you can do, but because of what you are." She stared at him with an expression he couldn't fully read across species barriers. "Your species is strange. Captain Velkar says humans are dangerously emotional. That you make decisions with feelings instead of logic." "Maybe," Evan admitted. "But sometimes feelings are the most logical thing we have. How does it make sense to treat an intelligent being like an object? How is it logical to build a civilization on suffering?" Susan's patterns pulsed slowly, thoughtfully. "The Council says slavery is economically efficient. That species like mine evolved to serve. That's what every slaver in history has said." Evan stood, pacing now. "We told ourselves the same lies once, but here's what humans learned. Treating people with dignity isn't just morally right. It makes everyone stronger. A person who chooses to help is worth 100 slaves who work from fear. But I am one. You are one. The Empire is millions. The Council supports them." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "What can one human do?" Evan pulled up his comm display. "Watch." His fingers flew across the holographic interface. Within minutes, he'd bypassed 3 security protocols and accessed the ship's main communication array. The message he composed was simple but devastating. Footage of Susan's scars, documentation of Krellian slave markets, testimony of abuses. He routed it not through official council channels, but directly to the free networks, the independent stations, the rebel colonies, the places where information couldn't be suppressed. And then he sent a second message to his superiors on Earth. "What? What have you done?" Susan's bioluminescence flared. Bright orange. Alarm or hope? He couldn't tell. "Started a conversation the Council won't like." Evan smiled grimly. "Humans have a bad habit of asking uncomfortable questions. We're about to ask why the Council tolerates slavery. And we're going to keep asking until we get answers. They will sanction your world. Isolate you. Maybe. Probably." Evan shrugged. "But humans have another bad habit. We don't handle injustice well. Even when it's inconvenient. Even when it costs us." The ship's alarm suddenly blared. Captain Velkar's voice crackled over the intercom, furious. "Evan, what have you done? The Council is already responding." "I know," Evan replied calmly. Tell them humanity's position is simple. We don't participate in slavery. We don't return escaped slaves. And we're willing to discuss what that means for our relationship with the Council. Silence stretched for a long moment. Then, the captain's resigned sigh. You just started a diplomatic incident that could affect our entire species. Yes, sir, I did. More silence. Then, unexpectedly, the crew is voting now. It's unanimous. We're not handing her over. A pause. You humans, and your damned principles. You're going to get us all killed someday. Or make the galaxy better, Evan countered. Or both. The captain cut the connection. Evan turned back to Susan, who had risen to her full height. Her bioluminescence now a steady, brilliant blue. You did this. For me? Risked your world? For one? Zarathi? For one person, Evan corrected. And because it's right. That's what humans do. We see someone who needs help, and we help. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Susan approached slowly, then did something that made Evan's breath catch. She pressed her crystalline forehead against his. A gesture he'd learned was the ex-Arathi equivalent of the deepest trust. Then I learn from humans, she whispered. Teach me this. Compassion. This worth you speak of. I want to be more than property. I want to be person. You already are, Evan said softly. You always were. Now you just need to believe it. Outside the viewport, the stars wheeled slowly by. Witnessing the moment when one small act of defiance began rippling outward, the Council would rage. The Empire would threaten. But humanity had spoken, in the voice of one man who refused to look away from suffering. And across the galaxy, others were listening.